I want you to think about the most excited you've ever felt about money. Like genuinely excited. Not, I got a good deal at the grocery store excited. I mean the kind where your hands are actually shaking a little, where you screenshot your bank account and just stare at it. That's what the first real paycheck feels like. And for about 48 hours, it's incredible. And then you blink, and it's gone. Not some of it, most of it. And you're sitting there in the same apartment, eating the same food, wearing the same clothes, wondering what the hell just happened. Because you didn't even do anything crazy. You didn't book a flight or buy something stupid. It just disappeared into the noise of being alive. Rent, gas, groceries, that one dinner you said yes to because you finally could. And now, you're back to watching your account like it owes you an apology. That was me. And if you're being honest with yourself right now, that might be you too. But before I get into what actually changed things for me, if you haven't watched the first video yet, go watch that one before this. I broke down everything that happens the second that first paycheck lands. The taxes that gut your salary before you even see it. The rent situation that makes absolutely no sense. All of it. This video is the next part of that story, and it'll hit differently if you've seen it. Link is right there. Go watch it, come back, and let's keep going. So there I was, a few months into my first real job, making what felt like decent money on paper, and somehow still living paycheck to paycheck. Not because I was irresponsible, I genuinely didn't think I was, but because nobody had ever actually shown me what to do with money. Like the real order of things, not the vague, spend less than you earn advice that means absolutely nothing when you're 22 and just trying to keep your head above water. I remember one night, I'm sitting on my apartment floor, didn't have a proper desk yet, laptop open, just Googling, what do I actually do with my paycheck? And the results were overwhelming in the worst way. Roth IRA, index funds, emergency fund, 401k contribution limits, high-yield savings. Every article written like I already had a finance degree and just needed a quick refresher. I didn't have a finance degree. I had $340 in my checking account and a lot of anxiety. So I closed the laptop and went to bed. And I think that's what most people do. Not because they don't care, but because the whole thing just feels like a wall you don't know how to climb. What eventually changed for me wasn't some big moment of clarity. It wasn't a book or a podcast or some guy on the internet yelling at me about avocado toast. It was just one small thing I did almost out of frustration. I opened a second savings account, separate from everything, a place I couldn't just tap when I opened my banking app half asleep at 11 p.m. And I set up an automatic transfer, $200 every payday, bi-weekly, so $400 a month, going straight there before I could think about it. That was it. That was the whole move. I didn't budget everything out. I didn't track every dollar. I just made it so a piece of every paycheck disappeared somewhere I couldn't easily touch it. And 3 months later, I had $1,200 sitting there, which sounds small, but you have to understand, that was the first time in my adult life where I felt like I had actual ground under my feet. Like if my car broke down tomorrow, or I had a random medical bill, or my laptop died, I wasn't immediately in a full-blown crisis. That feeling isn't exciting. It's not like winning something. It's quieter than that. It's like a background noise you didn't know was constantly running, just finally turning off. That low-level financial anxiety that hums under everything when you have zero cushion, gone. And I hadn't realized how much energy it was taking from me until it stopped. That one thing unlocked everything else. Because once you're not white-knuckling every week just to survive until the next paycheck, you can actually think. And the first thing I thought about was how much free money I had been leaving on the table at work without knowing it. My employer offered a 401k match, which I had ignored for 4 months because I didn't understand what it was and nobody explained it to me during onboarding. A 401k match means for every dollar you put into your retirement account, your employer adds money on top, up to a certain percentage of your salary. It's part of your compensation. It's yours, but you only get it if you contribute. And I hadn't been contributing. So for 4 months, I had essentially been accepting a pay cut without realizing it. The day I understood that, I felt genuinely annoyed. Not at my employer, at myself, at the fact that this isn't something they teach you anywhere, that you can be a functional adult with a real job and a lease and a cell phone plan and still have no idea that part of your salary is just sitting there unclaimed because nobody told you to go get it. So I went and got it. And look, I know some of you are doing the math right now and thinking, okay, but I barely have anything left after rent and food. What's the point of any of this? And I hear that. I really do. Because there were months where I was working with so little margin that even the $200 auto transfer felt terrifying. If that's where you are, you don't need to do all of this at once. You just need to do the first thing, the separate account, the automatic transfer, whatever number doesn't break you, even if it's $50, because the amount isn't actually the point right now. The point is building the muscle of paying yourself before you spend. That habit, compounding over time, is worth more than any specific dollar amount you start with. Everything else, the Roth IRA, the investing, all of it, that comes later. And it gets easier to understand once you're not operating from a place of constant financial stress. You can't think clearly about your future when you're panicking about right now. So you fix right now first. That's the whole thing. The part that took me longest to really feel in my chest, though, not just understand intellectually, but actually feel, was this idea that time is the only variable in personal finance that you can never get back. Not income, not knowledge, not opportunity. Because of how compounding works, the money you put away at 22 does something that money you put away at 35 simply cannot do, no matter how much more of it there is. The math is almost unfair. A small amount started early beats a large amount started late almost every time. And I think most people know this somewhere in the back of their mind, but they keep pushing the start date back. When I make more money, when things calm down, when I feel more ready. And I get it. I was the same way. But things don't calm down. They just change shape. The rent becomes a mortgage. The entry-level salary stress becomes a different kind of stress. Life doesn't hand you a clean window where everything is stable and you finally feel ready to start being responsible with money. You have to start in the middle of the chaos. That's the only option that actually exists. So if you walked away from this video with one thing, I just want it to be this. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to start something today that your future self will still be able to feel 10 years from now. And the version of you that does that, even imperfectly, even with a tiny amount, even while everything else still feels uncertain, that version wins every single time. Next video, I'm going to talk about the thing that cost me the most in my first year of earning. And it wasn't a bad investment. It wasn't overspending. It was something I completely ignored because nobody told me it mattered. And by the time I figured it out, I'd already lost more than I want to admit. That one's coming soon.